Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. David Orman, and you're listening to another episode of The Wellness Shot. Today is a very special, personal, maybe my favorite topic, certainly one of the more difficult ones, double-edged sword. I even dress for the part. My wife and I, this past actually a couple of days ago, Friday, went to a place called Seacrest Wolf Preserve. It is in northern Florida, a sleepy little town called Chipley. And we've been there a couple of times, and each time has been a unique experience. When we say we get to interact with the wolves, I'm saying you get to interact as in touch, as in pet, as in play with wolves that are anywhere from 120 pounds to as high as 170, 180 pounds. When I tell people that, and I mentioned this to a bunch of patients and students and things like that, I usually get extreme answers. Where is it? Tell me the address. I want to go. Or I wouldn't do that to save my life. Are you crazy? That's nothing. I'm terrified of that. And the answer is, of course, personal. There is no correct answer. There is an experience. And the experience that I have had uh, every single time to varying degrees is we have gotten to connect with nature to such a degree. It's as if the wolves are the connection, the dividing line between the human world and the divine world. I know that may sound extreme or maybe odd or what have you, but that has been my genuine experience. They are creatures that can tear you to pieces. A human bite is about 127, 128 pounds per square inch. Contrast that with a pit bull, which is around 275, 280. A wolf goes about 450, so they would not bite, they would disintegrate. The thing is, they don't. They never do. When a wolf in the wild encounters a human, 100 out of 100 times they will run. In fact, you usually don't see them unless you're, in a helicopter or something, because they can smell a human and they will always take off. The only time they would ever, I'm not even going to say attack, would be defend themselves if a person did something stupid, as in cornered them, or, gee, I wonder what it'd be like to play with one of their puppies, something like that. Other than that, you might see them in terms of hunting, and they would attack their cattle and stuff like that. The simple solution, if you have a farm and you raise cattle, is you put a couple of red flags around the area. That will chase them away. I kid you not. You don't have to kill them. You don't have to shoot at them. That's all that's needed. In any event, being with them, knowing that they have the potential to be one way, but instead act a totally different way. They act like a 2-year-old puppy, Labrador Retriever puppy, something playful puppy. And in the beginning, it's weird because if you've ever been to a dog park, you open up a gate, close the gate, open up a second gate, close the gate so they don't escape. And for the first 4 or 5 seconds, you think, I just locked myself in with wolves. Was this a good career move? And they come up to you and they're a whole lot bigger than what you think, and they're a lot fuzzier than what you think, and their teeth are bigger than what you think, and they sniff you and they typically want you to pet them. They'll walk you. When I say they will walk you, they'll put sometimes their mouth on you gently and pull you as if your arm is a leash or something to a sitting area. It's usually a log that's been smoothed over or something like that. And they'll tell you where to pet them. So maybe you start petting them behind their ears or something like that. With their arms, they will move your arm so that it reaches their back or something like that. And when they're done, they'll just walk away and they'll do whatever wolves want to do. They want to take a nap, they want to walk around the area. Sometimes at certain times of the year, they're a little bit, or certain of the wolves are a little bit jumpy, so they may jump on you. And my wife is 105. 4'5'5", 120 nothing pounds. So she angles so they don't jump. I'm 6'1" and 215, so I bring them on. I love it. And it's fun and it's entertaining, and they will lick you and they will play with you. And to interact with nature to such a degree, to have such creatures welcome you into their pack, even if it's for just 2 hours, I could tell you there are something like 660,000 words in the English language, and I could pick the identical ones, the perfect ones, and it will not describe the feeling of just being with them, interacting with them, looking into their eyes, which they're indescribable. And then when they are maybe about right here, hearing them howl. Just an incredible experience. And there are lessons to be learned from this. And I wrote down a couple of them, and I wanted to peek at my notes just so I make sure I cover everything. So one of the kind of a bittersweet thing this past time is there are issues with the landowner, so they may have to move to a different area, or there's uncertainty. And I've noticed in both in my life at times and with patients and with friends and students, etc., that some people, a lot of people have difficulty with change. I did not like to hear this. I wanted to hear, we're going to be here forever and a day, and you could come whenever you wish. Instead, it was, we don't know what's going to go on. We're probably going to have to move. We don't know where to move, etc., etc. The organ that is associated, the internal organ that is associated with change, or if you're struggling with change, is in fact the liver. The liver governs what's called the smooth patency of chi, which means it helps to move the energy throughout the body, head to toe, side to side, front to back. It helps to move it through the energy through the mind, through the spirit. When this flow becomes stuck, when it becomes stagnant, a person becomes resistant to movement, yeah, emotionally rigid, frustration, anger, depression, all of those things start to show up. And when you start to get the body moving through physical activity, even precise physical activity, Bagua to me is, I know I've said it 100 times, I'm going to say it 100,000 more. To me, it's the best. Simple walking or whatever you're passionate about, do it. There are even different types of breathing exercises which can help move that stuckness and allow you to return to norm. Because the flip side of the liver, anger, frustration, depression is one side of the liver. The opposite side of the liver is creativity. And that's when, and I don't necessarily just mean creativity as in I'm going to write a song or paint a picture or write poetry or something like that. Creativity is, this is how I'm going to get a new position in my current company, or this is how I'm going to get a new career, period, or start my own business or anything along those lines. That type of creativity. There's life creativity. This is how I'm going to enhance my relationship with my wife or with my partner or children or what have you. This is how I'm going to change my house so that when we walk in, it just feels better, feng shui, etc. That's all that means. And it's basically getting the liver to move more efficiently. Liver also has to do with vision. So if person, and I don't mean just vision as in, I'm having a hard time reading this book, but vision as in I see options, I see a bright future, things along those lines. And again, strengthening the liver by having experiences that are out of the norm, such as interacting with wolves. Fantastic way of doing it. So as I mentioned, we went there and we have no idea if we're ever going to go back because we don't know if it's going to be in existence. So when you find yourself saying, I'll do it when, fill in the blank, when the situation's better, when we're better off financially, when this, when that, when that. My suggestion is there's one time and it's now. Do whatever you need to do if it is a passion. In other words, yeah, I think we should go there. I think it would be nice. That's not a passion. I know I have to go there. There's something there for me. I could feel it. That's a passion. Do whatever you need to do. Start planning, even if it's just an inch at a time. Look it up on the internet. Where can you stay? Where, if you have to fly, where would you fly from? What is your itinerary? What is it that you want to experience from that? And begin to take the necessary steps and act as if you are there already, or reverse engineer it. Pretend you're telling your spouse or your one of your buddies or something. It's a week after you imagined going there, and you're telling them the story, and then reverse engineer how you got it there. 1,001 ways to play, to use your imagination, to use energy to create that type of experience. I have dealt with, particularly in the last 6 or 7 years, people in their what I would call deep winter of their life, where this may be their last Christmas, or maybe next Christmas may be their last, or time is extremely short. And because of physical limitations, because of, let's just say, other issues, they're not able to. And every single one of them across the board, this is what you hear. I don't, yeah, I did a lot of boneheaded things, and yeah, I wish I wouldn't. But you know what I really regret not doing? And then they fill in the blank. It's always the not doing. I wish I would have, that carries a lot more impact than I wish I didn't do. Mind you, there's a we all have a whole lot on that side, and so be it. That's part of the human experience. But when there is the emotionally driven, the heart driven, I have to do this. I need to go there. I need to experience this. I have it. And you hear yourself talking with that type of passion. Do whatever you need to do. Begin the process and set a final date. And somewhere between now and then, things have a tendency to fall into place. Do it, do it, do it. Don't wait, because there may be a time when you didn't, when you don't have the opportunity. When I first moved to Florida in 1994 and started my practice, one of the people I wanted to meet was a uh, a treasure hunter named Mel Fisher. Mel Fisher found the Atocha, which is, I don't know, like $200 billion, some crazy number, off the coast of Florida, and it was, gold bars and crosses and emeralds and diamonds and all this other stuff. I didn't really care about that stuff. I wanted to meet him, because what type of person does that? Not your ordinary person. And I like the non-ordinary, the out of the ordinary. So I said, "Oh, I'll do it. No, I'll do it, and I'll do it." And a year went by, and one of patients came in, and he had this unusually large gold, and it looked like it was extremely heavy, cross around his neck. And I said, "Hey, if you don't mind asking, where in the world did you get that?" He goes, "I'm a treasure hunter, and we found it off the coast of what was it? It was a coast that was the Keys. There's an island off the coast of the Keys. It'll come to me in a second. Uh, in any event, I said, "Oh, did you ever hear of Mel Fisher?" He goes, "Mel and I were best of friends." I said, "Were?" He goes, "Yeah. Didn't you know he died a month ago?" It's still, but that was, I don't know, 30 something, 31 years ago, and it still bothers me to this day. Take advantage of now and do it. Next up, I'm afraid. Have you ever met wolves? No. Do you know anything about them? No, just what I've seen on TV. So you know nothing about it. You haven't had any experience. And fill in the blank with any word other than wolf, if you wish. So the mind has a tendency to make up stories, particularly the frontal portion of the brain. And then we believe that the stories that we just created are true. And then we base decisions on that. So I mentioned I ran 13 marathons, and I have a relative. And I said, "Yeah, these are really tough. Now, let me tell you how to do it." He's never run a mile. Unless you've experienced it, you have no idea. Everything else is just a story. Don't believe your stories. believe your experiences. Some people like it. After they experience, I couldn't get enough marathons. My wife, she didn't care for it, but she didn't care for it because she experienced it, not because she created a story. We had no idea what the wolves were going to be like. It turned out to be one of the greatest experiences of our life. Why? Because we did it. So this is sort of a connection to not only do it now, but do it for real, not just create a story or, I read about it or saw the clips. I teach a particular martial art called Sistema, and it is unusual. And it's amazing how many people know everything about it without ever taking one class. So they know nothing, but they think they do. Experience is the word. Experience is the word. And last but certainly not least, find something, anything that you connect with in nature. Nature is without a doubt the, underline that word, most healing experience that we humans can experience more than any pharmaceutical, more than any herb, nutrition, breathing exercise, acupuncture, anything. Being in nature, being disconnecting from this incredibly loud world and plugging it into silence and plugging it into a rhythm which is comparable, which is compatible, I should say, with our natural rhythm and being in that for hours, ideally every week, but certainly on a regular basis. And it does not matter what it is, whether it be hiking or camping, canoeing, anything along those lines. Just connecting with nature on a regular basis will be the greatest medicine, will be the greatest anti-aging therapy you can possibly experience. I know this was a little bit long, but I really hope you all benefit from this, from our experiences. And if you have the opportunity, go up there, check it out first, just to make sure where it is. It's and still around. The place is called Seacrest Wolf Preserve, and there are other types of things like that. Here in Florida, we can swim with the dolphins, we can swim with the sea lions, with sharks. We can be a trainer for a day. We can interact with elephants and zebras and any other, probably any other animal you could think of, just about all within a relatively a short time frame. And if animals are not your thing, then what in nature can you connect with? Because let me make a suggestion. Take a picture of you before you go and have these types of experience because you will never, ever see that individual again. The person who comes back after this experience is never the same. There's always more greatness experienced through them, more, dare I say, divinity experienced through them. My teacher used to call it the great presence behind everything. More of the great presence is expressed through you, and you find that you're saying the right things, you're doing the right things. People who need help are seeking you out, and you're maybe in the front of the brain, you're saying, I don't know what to do, but you find that you say something, you do something, you give an example, what have you, all of a sudden, wow, thank you. You were helpful, or you just took the time to listen, even if you didn't want to, but you did it anyway. Those are the types of side effects, if you will, from connecting with nature. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week.